Right, here we are on a freezing cold morning and I'm going to show you how to catch on pinkies with conditions like this. Let's get on with it and let's get some fish in the net. Right guys, here we are and look at this, froze solid. It was 7-8 degrees yesterday and we've come to -1 this morning and it's got a cap on it, absolutely froze. And this video is to show you guys at home how we're going to fish ground bait and pinkies. Because if we catch here today on pinkies, you'll catch anywhere on a commercial with it not frozen. This will be the proof in the pudding. If we catch here, you'll catch anywhere. We're at Wold Farm Fishery on Oaks, it's full of fish. Roach, skimmers, well carp, we may even look carp, everything. But the main hunt is silverfish, skimmers, roach, might get an odd tench, maybe we might hook some carp. Normally, but with it like this, if we catch today, we'll catch anywhere. Pinkies, ground bait, just 2 baits, and you'll catch anywhere up and down the country, even if it's cold. I've got to get my pole now for longer. Well, I've broke now a line going out sort of in an N shape, and now I'm just going to break it in the middle and then try my landing net handle just to slide the sections under the ice either side. I mean, don't do this for your pole, but it's only very thin and I know what pressure I'm putting on it, but that's my cupping kit that's on the end there, so it's a little bit stronger, and obviously I've got a brass thread on the end there. So now I broke that in 2 now, as you can see. I'll just check, yeah, all the way along. Now I'll get my landing net handle, this is much stronger, and now I'm going to try and slide it. As you can see, I'm sliding it, so I've got to break it again and then try and, there we go, it's going under. Best to get it under, then it slides under the other ice, keeps going. I'm going to break that in 2, slide that bit under that ice there, get that out the way. I can't slide that one, won't slide, so I'll just break that again. There, that's sliding now, but it's quite thin. So it's sort of breaking up more than sliding some of it, but that's gone under there. Just got my pole cup on the end there. Check my joints are all tight first. Now I can bring that towards me and get rid of it with my landing net pole, which should be easier and stronger. 2 bits make it easier again. And try and slide this that way. And this one the other way. There we go. Let's bring this bit towards me if I can. So thin, just try and get rid of that. You've got to be quicker, sometimes it freezes against the other piece and then you can't push it anymore. There we are. Well, there you go, I've cleared it all out. I'm going to get set up now, get fishing, take you through the procedure, but at least we can fish. Well, there's my bait for this session. Now, it may look a lot, but you really need 4 or 5 kilo of ground bait. No, I'm joking, no. This is the mix that I'd use, but just show you the pinkies first. I'd normally riddle them at home, but I've just shown you how I do. I just riddle them off, take any from the match before if I'm fishing the next day, any muck that's gathered in there. Just lightly sprinkle them with a little bit more maize, and you've got perfect pinkies there ready. And fluorescent pinkies, it is the bait. Be it on rivers, drains, commercials, fluoro pinky is just simply the best. It's awesome. But that's the procedure, and there's the pinkies that I'm using for this session. Now my ground bait that I'm using, although I've got bags here, just to show you the mix I'd use, it's my normal roach mix, which I use on all natural venues. Sonia Bait's Natural Black, Sweet Skimmer, Crush Temp and Roach. Roughly I'm mixing probably a third of each, and then I'll mix a third with Super Crush Green. And what that does, that just gives it that fish meal content. I don't want to overpower it with fish meal because I don't really want to attract the carp, I want to catch the silvers. But with all commercials, they see so much fish meal that the roach and skimmers, all the silverfish, get a little bit preoccupied with it. So it's best adding a little bit into it, but not too much to try and attract too many carp over it. So I'll just put a little bit of the fish meal, put the flavour in there, but in my normal roach mix. So I'm just going to add a little bit of each, because you won't want a lot for a session, not in the winter time. So a little bit of black, a little bit of Sweet Skimmer, a little bit of Crush Temp. Crush Temp, I put all my mixes. I just think it's just such a bait that all fish love. They love hemp. It's like a drug to them, so always put a little bit of Crush Temp in there. A little bit of black. And then, to top it all off, some Super Crush Green. You can see it's not loads, but it's just enough. Mix it all together dry, because what you never do is add ground bait to water. Always add the water to your dry mix. A little bit of water. Boy, my hand's cold in here. Oof. I've mixed that thoroughly in there. Now I'll leave that now just for about 10 minutes, because normally I'll do this at home the night before for enough for the match, but I'm going to leave that to stand for 10 minutes to thoroughly soak in there, and after 10 minutes I'll show you that I riddle it. So we'll leave that to stand just for 10 minutes. Right, now I've left that to stand for 10 minutes, and I can just loosen it all up, and it's damp to the feel. Now I know a lot of guys on these commercial silverfish are feeding the sloppy ground bait, but I like a dampish mix, and I like it to go in not dry, but just so it spreads out onto the bottom. It's the mix I like to use for all my silver fishing. Now I shall just tip that onto my riddle, make sure everything's out of the bucket, lift the riddle onto the bucket and just shake it through. And while I riddle it, you'll see you're left with those lumps there, and all I do, I just push those lumps through. Push it all through. There you are, you're left with nothing. Everything's gone through, and there's the mix. Nice and fluffy and riddled. And I can make a nice little ball of it if I want to, and it'll all break up. Right, let's get fishing. Right, we're all set up, ready to start. I'm going to start straight away because it may take a while to get a few fish. So I'm going to cup in one ball of ground bait, a few pinkies in. I've only put a few pinkies in. I'll just squeeze this as hard as I dare, or as hard as I can. You can see there's a few pinkies in it. I put a few little loose pinkies on top. Now they're live pinkies. And I cut that in just to kick it off. Probably a tangerine sized ball. And it'll break up as it goes down, a little bit will come off it, and then it will all break up on the bottom because it's very, very, it's damp, but it's not over wet, so it'll open up on the bottom. Right, we've fed, so I'm just going to start with, I'm going to start with 2 thorough pinkies. I was going to put 1, I'm not going to put 2 on this time, just a little bit bigger bait for them to see. Very important, once I've started now, to dink 8 or 9 pinkies in. Just over the float, keeping a few falling through the water. Also very important, because might not catch for the first half hour, maybe an hour, until that sun gets up, a little bit of warmth gets on the water. But just trying to make it work. I've plumbed up there, I'm dead depth. So the pinkies are just literally just touching the bottom. And very important also, every sort of 35-40 seconds, just give it a little lift, trying to get the fish, if they're there, to see the bait, to antagonise them to take it, to get an early indication, trying to make them feed. That's why I'm dripping a few pinkies all the time just through the water, trying to get them to feed. This is Oaks Lake and it's full of carp. There's barbel in here, lots of skimmers and bream, lots of roach, tench, goldfish. Well, there's everything in here. But obviously we're targeting the silverfish. There's a lot of little roach in here. Once you get the little roach feeding, all the other fish will feed as well. But it's just initially getting them to feed. So you're trying to make it happen. It's very important when you lay the rig, and always flick the hook bait past the bulk, so lower it down slowly, not all in one drop, so as it don't tangle. And again, just drip some pinkies over the top of it. Try and get them to feed. With always, when I plumb at dead depth, the slightest, if they suck that bait and I see the indication on the float, whereas if you're a little bit over depth, they can pick it up and you won't see anything. Obviously the length I'm fishing out there, I'm probably 5-6 inches off where I've broke the ice. Just fishing sort of tightish up to that, just leaving a little bit, just where if the fish might have just backed off a bit, thinking that they won't be in the open closer in, so just pick that one line and hopefully trying to get them to feed, and if they are, they're just back under that ice, just forming a little bit of a shadow for them. But it's starting to melt now, so that should help. Again, just a little lift, lay it back in, and I'll just dink another few pinkies over it. Because I think in mind, once they fell through the water, if it's not attracting the fish to try and get them to feed, they settle on the bottom. You can forget it, they're just there and the fish are just hovering about. So it's just trying to keep a few trickling in, trying to get them to start feed. Once one starts to feed, they'll all start to feed. So I'm going to carry on and we'll join you once we get that first bite. There we are, first bite. Like a roach, I thought, but we'll soon see. Yep, little roach. A very cold roach. Lovely fish. Now let's see if we can get another one. Normally once you start getting the bites, especially when it's cold like this, you keep catching, but very slow bite that was. Now it's double pinky. I can hardly feel my fingers to put them on. Oh, let's see if there's another one there. Well, I'm hoping I can catch a few skimmers for you, but with it being frozen cold, so cold last night, it was when we got here. Don't mind catching anything, but I thought it might take a little bit longer. That's just over half hour, that first bite, so let's see if they'll keep coming now. That was a better bite, a real quick bite, and I reckon this is a skimmer, this one. Yeah, definitely. I thought carp at first. That's a skimmer, definitely. Look at him, lovely little fish. Yeah, nice fish, £1.5. That's what it's all about. Double pinky, just again trying to select the bigger ones and the real more fluorescent ones. You catch one skimmer, you should catch another. And little shoalfish they are. Obviously with it frozen, although it is melting, it's starting to melt now. I could only really have the one line, but with that ice not being there, I could have 2 lines. And what you can do is put a small ball of groundbait on both lines. There we go again. And having 2 lines, you've got somewhere to go on your feed that you're pinging just past the line you're fishing. Might be a slightly bigger skimmer, this one. It's amazing how they just suddenly start to feed, but I think without loose feeding that pinky, it wouldn't happen. You've got to try and make it happen. Very cold they are. There we go. Another nice fish. I think he's probably £2, he is. It's amazing. Just the power of pinkies. Just 2 little pinkies on the hook. 2 little fluoro pinkies. I've just seen a little bubble come up there. That indicates, that tells me that's little skimmers, that is. Well, decent skimmers. They all show themselves. You see some little bubbles. There, another bubble's come up just past me float. So there's definitely some skimmers around there. For over that ground bait and the pinkies I've been loose feeding. But when I top up, I may top up in about another half hour with another small ball of ground bait. It's very important. I always put it on the same spot. Even if I had the 2 lines, I put it on the same spot I put it on each time. And it's the pinkies that you loose feed around the ground bait to draw the fish in over to the main area, which is where the ground bait is put in. The pinkies that far to the left, right, or drop short draws the fish into that area. And as I've said, if I do get any indications on the drop as I'm lowering it in, I can pick up the other rig that's through the water. And you may catch them through the water, because not all fish are on the bottom upside down. They're all different levels swimming around. It's just some fish go down onto the bottom to the feed that's fell onto the bottom to suck it up. What a lovely bite that was, really quick. It's just after I'd lifted it as well. So I've seen a few bubbles come up. They're definitely there, but obviously they don't really want to feed. And the fish, well, my hands are freezing, even though it's warmed up, the fish are like ice blocks. Very lethargic they are. Lovely, look at that. Another decent skimmer, beautiful, dark one. Double pinky, beautiful fish. I thought I'd catch more roach though first. So I had that first fish was a roach and then 3 or 4 skimmers. That's another lovely bite. There's definitely another skimmer. Beautiful fish in this. These are beautiful fish. Look, it's so cold, he's just come straight up. That 4 elastic, absolutely working perfect. You can fish 2 heavier elastic and you'll pull out the fish. So cold they are, so cold. Oh, they're like little blocks of ice. Oh, he's wiggling now. Beautiful fish, look at them. Another good skimmer, or is it a carp? Oh no, it's another decent skimmer, but a great big lump of ice is coming now, so if I get this in, I might suddenly just put a little ball of ground bait in there until this ice has moved then, because it's a great big sheet. Oh, lovely fish. Right, I'm just going to top up now. It's another ball because I've caught 8 or 9 fish. Another ball that size, tangerine size, with pinkies in. I'm going to cut that in. Put a few little pinkies on top as well. If I hadn't have caught 7 or 8 fish, or well, I think I've caught 8 or 9 fish and a few roach, I wouldn't have bothered topping up yet. So I've caught quite a few fish. I think it's time to put another ball in. So I put another ball in there. Let's cut the pinkies in. But I've also got to break this ice that's closed my channel up. But I'm going to take my pot off to do this, just to give me a channel if I get a fish to bring it back in. But it is still moving though. Oh, the fun's are fishing in the ice. Lovely. Right, as you can see, the ice has moved and another lot's moved in now. I've just cupped a ball of ground bait in. What I'll do, I'm going to have a nice cup of tea now, show you my rigs, and by the time we've done that, that last piece of ice will have cleared. As you can see, it's moving now. I've put a ball of ground bait in so there'll be fish there feeding and we can carry on fishing. So I'm going to have a cup of tea and I'll see you in a minute. First rig, I've set up as a 1/2 gram rig. One of my MP Roach carbon stem. I've got an MCX1 20 to 08. Then I've got a square shot. I've got a 11s, 1, 2, 3, 2.5 inches apart, and then the bulk. I've got a couple of 11s there, and then the rest are 10s making up the bulk. And then coming up to my float, it's probably about 5.5 foot deep. It's my MP Roach, which is a 1/2 gram, and I've got a back shot just there behind it, you can see, and that is a number 10 back shot, just to sit steady in the water. 4 elastic through the top section, nice and soft, so it cushions the strike and the fish coming in, because you can fish too heavy elastic where you're going to pull out the fish, and you don't want that, so fish a softer elastic. My second rig is a strung out rig. It's exactly the same, 08 MCX1 08, but I've got 11s spread 2.5 inches apart over probably space of about 1.5 foot, and then I've got 11s again, but spread really close in a spread bulk over about 8 inches. And then coming up to the end where the float is, it's a 7B10, one of my MP1s, wire stem, and again I've got a back shot, a number 10 there, just in line with the end of the bristle, just to seal it nice in the water. And the elastic, solid 4 through the top section again, nice and soft, cushion any lunges by the fish. But 2 simple rigs. Start fishing on the heavier rig first of all, so you're positive over your bait, and then as you start to lose feed and fish do come up in the water, you can go through the water with the spread bulk. It's been alright, we've had quite a few nice skimmers, a few nice roach, and now the ice has gone, I've tried swinging the rig out and to the side so it pendulums in. I nicked a couple of fish doing that, but didn't work properly like it normally would do. Now, there's another bite there. They just seem to be just hovering over the balls of ground bait that I've put in. Well, I've only fed twice. But the bites very quick. You get a slow little touch, but very quick bites. That's a roach, that is. Because the water's so cold, I mean, my hands are still cold, even though the sun's out and some of the ice has melted. It's like freezing. But look, another nice roach. Beautiful fish. Yeah, that's another skimmer. Well, what we'll do, I think we'll finish on that one. Get this one in, pack up, have a look what we caught in a short session, just show you how valuable Pinkies are, look at that. Another nice little skimmer. What a lovely catch on a real cold day, and all I've used is fluoro Pinkies, and I've probably only got through, looking at them, a quarter of a pint. Power of the Pinky. Give it a go on your commercial, you're bound to catch.